Hey folks, welcome back. Time for another entry in the Over the Top puzzle series. This time we're going to look at the first of several puzzles in the MF8 9cm dodecahedron series. I have two others that I will show you. In the future I may have some more, depending on budgets and availability, but we'll see. In any case, this first one, I'll say right off the bat, is the most disappointing puzzle in my collection, so don't expect me to praise this to the heavens. This video is intended to be kind of a warning. Unfortunately, I think I'm too late for our friend Jacobs Joe in the comments who recently ordered one of these. Godspeed, Joe. I hope that it works out. Some people have had good ones, so you never know. But let us know in the comments how you get on with it. Mine, unfortunately, has been terrible from day one, and I've done many attempts to try and fix it, and it's not been successful. But I'll talk about that more detail in a minute. So, what's the puzzle? Well, this is the MF8 Void Master Pentultimate. Which you can see on the side of the box here. They like using this box for this series that doesn't actually tell you what puzzle is inside, which seems like, people in stock rooms around the world are just barreling towards misunderstandings because, yeah, you can see what the puzzle is from here, but if you're just picking thousands of puzzles a day, I'm sure you could miss that and think, oh, it must be that one or that one, But anyway, I guess it saves money. MF8 loves saving money on their components. But yeah, so let's free this beast from its cage. So you can see it's a great looking puzzle. The aesthetics are flawless in my opinion. The stickers, shades look great. They're actually really nice stickers as well, I've found. So I've done so many hours of trying to break in this puzzle and make it work, and that hasn't worked. But the stickers have stayed absolutely solid, despite many thousands of turns probably by this point. Even the tiny edge and corner piece stickers, no chips, no mess, they've been good. I do want to, keep in the back of my mind and remind you that Oliver's Stickers does have replacement stickers for this, so if you have problems with yours, you can get some from him. I actually had some in my shopping cart to buy from Oliver's, but now that I'm giving up on this puzzle, I probably won't buy them. But they do exist. And the pattern of cuts on the faces is really appealing as well. You've got this big chunky center, these 5 inner centers. It makes this really nice symmetrical pattern. It's almost fractal feeling, right? You go from big to small, like you're looking at something on the hyperbolic plane. It's very interesting and attractive, geometrically speaking. And when you do manage to get a face to turn, it's pretty impressive. It's a deep-cut puzzle, so a huge chunk of the puzzle is moving with every turn, which apparently makes it quite challenging, and you need lots of long sequences to solve it. But because mine doesn't work, I'm definitely not going to scramble it and find out, because the puzzle turns so poorly that undoubtedly I would just end up hucking it out the window at a certain point out of frustration. Now, the reason why it turns so poorly, and you can see kind of what I'm getting at here. So whatever face I pick, sometimes part of the turn will go okay, but it just constantly stops randomly. And sometimes it stops severely, and it brings the slice layer along with it, so you have to hold that in place at all times. And the thing that gets me is there's no rhyme or reason to it. So faces that were cooperating with me mere moments ago will suddenly freeze. And, I just know it would be impossible for me to keep track of what I'm doing when I constantly have to baby the puzzle through every turn like that. Now, bear in mind, this is the puzzle after I've lubed like crazy all of the inside bits of the mechanism that I could possibly put lube on. And I've spent many an evening with this puzzle next to me while I'm watching TV with my wife or whatever, and just turning this puzzle constantly. And there's some faces that have improved slightly. So this one that I'm on now is probably the best one. But the problem is there's 12 faces, and the rest of them are awful. And they really just have not improved despite all my efforts. And the reason for this is basically the choice that MF8 made to turn this into a void puzzle. So, of course, many of you will know what a void puzzle is, but if you don't, I'm going to show you. So a void puzzle is when you have a puzzle with no core. So it's a hollow puzzle. And if I can ever get this center cap off, there we go. So when I pop these center caps off the puzzle, you end up being able to look through the whole thing. And it has a certain novelty value, I suppose. But the thing is, the void puzzle is not a new idea. We've had void cubes for a long time. There's definitely more impressive void puzzles than this, like the VTI from Very Puzzle, the Void Truncated Icosahedodecahedron. That has 62 faces. Excuse me. And if you buy a VTI set of stickers from Oliver's, you get this amazing kind of disco ball effect going on the decagon faces. And that looks way cooler than this. I'm not sure which came out first, to be fair. This maybe came out first. I don't know. But in any case, it's there. It's definitely not novel. I guess it's impressive to do it on a puzzle of this complexity, but the result of that choice is to make a puzzle that doesn't work, right? So in order for the puzzle to turn when there's no core, as you can see, it's hollow there throughout, you have all the faces turning on these rails, which hopefully you can see. There you go. So when I turn the face, it's moving this ring through this rail here, right? So that means there's this huge amount of friction going on because the entire surface of that rail is in contact with this groove, and that never changes, right? So there's a huge amount of friction going on. And so those are the bits that I have dumped lube inside like crazy, and it really did not make any difference, which I don't understand. I tried various types of lube. I tried silicone spray, and at best I got minor improvements on some faces, like I said, but not enough to make it, in my opinion, a solvable puzzle and something that I want to solve. The other thing is that the rails are held together by a huge number of screws. So I think there's 90 screws on the inside of this puzzle. So I did get some recommendations that I could try loosening the screws a little bit to relieve the tightness. But basically, it turns out you have no room to maneuver. So I loosened the screws the tiniest possible amount that I could. And instantly, when I tried to turn it, half the puzzle derailed, and I had two halves of a puzzle in my hands. Which, to be fair, sometimes happens anyway, even when the puzzle's not loosened. So that was pretty frustrating. So then I tried to loosen it even less. Still fell apart. And basically, either the puzzle is so tight and randomly stopping all the time, or it's going to fall apart all the time. And neither option is really enjoyable or feasible to me. Given that it's a deep cut puzzle with a lot of complexity, it's going to be a marathon solve. And there's no way I'd be able to put up with this random misbehavior throughout that. So, unfortunately, this puzzle will not be scrambled and solved out of the ones in my collection. And what really gets me about this, right? So they've done the void puzzle thing. Okay, fair enough. Somebody in the meeting room decided that'd be a good idea, and it would stand out from the crowd, which it does, visually. But then when you actually take the center caps out and turn it into its supposedly natural state of being a void puzzle, it works even worse than before. Because with this rails mechanism, if there's any tiny misalignment, the layers won't turn. So I can't turn this at all. And it looks completely aligned, right? Where's the problem? I don't see the problem. And then if I shift that, no, it just, nothing, right? Now that, it locks up all the time. There we go. Locks up all the time when the center caps are in as well, but it's noticeably less severe. The puzzle in this state is not workable. It doesn't work. This should not have been released, in my opinion. And I think it's a real shame that MF8 occasionally does this, where they put a puzzle into the market that is broken. This is not a workable product and should not be sold, in my opinion. And I'm really sorry I bought it. I'm sad to say that because it's a great looking puzzle, and I don't like to be super negative on the channel, but I really wanted to show this off to you and tell you, please don't buy this. It's bad. And the problem too is with MF8, I contacted them about an issue with another puzzle, and they wrote back to me and said, oh, that happens all the time. You should fix it by doing blah, blah, blah. And it was all stuff that they should have done themselves in the factory. And they didn't, say anything about replacements or, nothing. So they really expect us to fix their problems for them. They release products like this and they expect we'll put up with it. And that's not appropriate. What is this? Why make this? I can't enjoy this, Come on. I'm afraid it's going to derail. There we go. You can see that this is not enjoyable at all, and it's a complete waste of money, so really don't buy it. The issue when it's in the void state, in my opinion, is that once you take the center caps out, the center caps give the puzzle at least a bit of shape, right? And they help the layers to know where they're supposed to be. And when you take them out, there's much more opportunity for tiny misalignments to happen, or at least that's what it feels like. And of course, as I showed you, any tiny misalignment completely locks up the whole puzzle. Even an alignment that you can't physically see with your eyes, the puzzle will say, nope, we're 3 microns off on, the back side of the puzzle somehow. And I'm just never going to turn again until you randomly bump some things around in the right mystical way to free me from this bondage. You know, it's just not fun. It's not good. And please, please don't buy it. If you did buy it, you may get lucky, of course. MF8 puzzle purchasing is like a lottery. You know, generally you're going to get something terrible, but occasionally you'll get a great puzzle like Aton Star, which is pretty much, you know, universally praised, and mine is really good too. But other puzzles, you know, you never know. It's a crapshoot. Yours might magically work somehow, like Super Antonio Vivaldi's, I guess. Or you'll be like me and many others and get a puzzle that is awful. But I think with this one, the chances are particularly high that you won't be one of the lucky ones. So I really can't encourage you to purchase this. Now, in a way, this is even more frustrating, but MF8, of course, must have known that this mechanism was not particularly well suited to this kind of puzzle, because while they did make the multi-dodecahedron here, which has a Megaminx inside and uses the exact same puzzle, that one also turns terribly, of course, from what I understand, but they've made two other puzzles with Pentultimate-based stuff going on, which are the Crystal Dreidel, which is here on the box. So it's essentially a Master Pentultimate minus the edges. You can kind of see that here. So we still have the, you know, the inner centers, the corners, but we don't have edges. And then inside we have a Pyraminx crystal, so it's another multi-cube. There's also the Scooby multi-dodecahedron, which was recently released in limited edition hideous white plastic. And that one is a regular Pentultimate like this, but with a Pyraminx crystal inside. Both of those apparently use a shells-based mechanism, which is the proper mechanism to use for a Master Pentultimate. And in both cases, they turn actually well enough to solve and seem pretty good on the videos that I've seen. But unfortunately, they're really, really, really hard to get. And I wanted to mention that as well, because if you wanted to get a Pentultimate type puzzle, and you thought, well, I'd really wanted a Master Pentultimate, but it's okay if I can't get that. I'll get one of these other things that are actually really different puzzles, but at least they're similar in some sense. And they might go and look at Super Antonio Vivaldi's video where he says, oh, here's the Scooby multi-dodecahedron. You know, this is available. You can get it. You can't, really. I mean, you can find it on some dodgy sellers from AliExpress, which, you know, most of them are fine. But the reliable cubing stores do not have it, including MF8's own store. The Crystal Dreidel is even harder to find. There's only one I've seen on AliExpress. That's $140 from Whit Eden. Very nice behavior, guys, jacking up the price. You can get the ugly white primary version on the MF8 store, but they want to charge you a very high price of $70 plus $20 shipping. And given that I don't like them, actually, particularly as a company, I don't want to give them $90 for one puzzle, unfortunately. So these puzzles kind of theoretically exist, but in practical terms, nobody that I trust as a vendor actually has any, and hasn't for months. And I suppose it's possible the Scooby multi-dodecahedron will come out in black plastic at some point, but it's been out for ages as a white puzzle, and I haven't heard hide nor hair of a black plastic one. So who knows? And they don't tell us what's going on. I don't know if the black plastic Crystal Dreidel will come back into stock ever. I really don't know. So it's a shame. They obviously realized or even knew beforehand that the void mechanism was a non-starter for this kind of puzzle if they wanted to take it further. So they moved to a proper 3 shells mechanism. But then they decided to make like 3 of each puzzle and stop forever, I guess. I don't know why. You know, it's kind of mystifying behavior, really, but it is what it is. I may crack and buy one of these from AliExpress from a store that doesn't want to gouge me, of course, if I can find one. And if I do, I'll come back and report to you. But it's kind of a shame also in that none of these are just plain Master Pentultimates. You know, they obviously have that mechanism ready to use. They've used it in 2 puzzles so far, one of which is almost a Master Pentultimate, but it's a multi-puzzle. If you just want a plain Master Pentultimate, why don't you just make one? You would sell loads, because all of us idiots who bought this, with, you know, even ignoring the warnings in my case, you know, I knew this might be a bad puzzle and I still bought it. I would jump at the chance to get one that works and has a shells mechanism. Of course I would, because I wanted to solve this puzzle. That's why I bought it. So I don't know why we're not getting one, frankly, but you know, the decisions made around mass production in Twisty Puzzles kind of mystify me quite a bit, actually. A lot of puzzles that seem like low-hanging fruit are never mass-produced, and a lot of ones, you know, come out in a terrible state and are never revisited. I mean, it's a bit strange, really. we need better quality control and a more systematic way of companies deciding what they're going to publish, I think, because, there's no rhyme or reason to it, stuff that comes out. Anyway, so I've deleted my last two versions of this video because I ranted for almost half an hour, so I'm going to cut myself off here pretty soon to not subject you to that. But hopefully this conveys adequately that the puzzle's real bad. Don't buy the puzzle. It's real bad. That's the main point I wanted to get across. It does look great. I think if it worked, it would be great fun to solve. And if you did already buy one, like our friend Jacus Joe, I'm sorry I didn't get this video out sooner, but you may yet be lucky, or maybe you're much better at fixing puzzles than I am. But I honestly tried everything, so at this point I'm giving up. But anyway, if you have this puzzle, I'd love to hear your experiences as well. If you have any magic tricks that don't require a huge amount of tools and time, maybe I'd still give them a try to see if they fix the puzzle. But honestly, I'm fed up now, and I'm just going to leave it in the box under my bed and try not to think about it. I mean, look, it's just awful. Yeah. But if you were lucky enough to get a good one, I'm glad for you, and I'd like to hear, how you've experienced it as a puzzle, as a solving experience. Obviously we have the videos from Super Antonio, but I'd like to hear more perspectives as well. So, like I said, if I do get the functional shells mechanism-based Pentultimate type puzzles, then I'll come back and report on those. But really just wanted to get this out there finally to say it's a great-looking puzzle. It's definitely over the top in terms of the difficulty. They tried to be even more over the top with the void mechanism, but it blew up in their faces and ours, unfortunately. But yeah, maybe if we're lucky in the future, we'll have a Master Pentultimate that functions as it should, and we can all enjoy a nice carefree solve of it. But in the meantime, don't be tempted, please. So that's it from me today. Oh, get out of here. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk about a couple of other puzzles in the 9cm dodecahedron series, which are altogether much more positive than this. So please look forward to that. In the meantime, as always, stay healthy, stay safe. It's a rough world out there at the moment, so take care of yourselves, please. And I look forward to seeing you in the comments and in the next video. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.